Hello. I am so excited to be joining you all here today. Is my first YouTube live, and I'm looking forward to seeing how I feel about them. I'll do a few more and see how it works out. I'm Judith Manriquez, and I support intuitive entrepreneurial women to grow their business, but from their energy. And today I want to talk about how to create with New Earth 5D energies. And so you'll know if you want to stick around because I'll be talking about who it's for, what it is exactly, like how to understand what this is about, how do they feel, how do these energies feel, why it matters, and we'll cover how to work with them. So that's what I'll be covering today. And I'm going to try to keep it a little bit conversational and also make it so that it's a smart use of time because that's how I work. So, who it's for. So who is this about? Why what is this all about? Who is this whole conversation about? And really who do I speak to as a whole? I really work with people who feel energy, who are intuitive, who are conscious. They've been doing work for a little while and can sense at least in some gentle way the difference between when something is in alignment and something is not. And sometimes we have a sense of that from more of a character perspective. In this instance, I'm really talking about how you might feel it in your body. You might feel it in the energy around you. It might be an emotional thing. You might get a gut hit. This is who it's for because you need to have been in some way working with energy, and usually those are all instances of that. This is for also people who might call themselves light workers or star seeds, and you might also be in conventional business. But again, I predominantly work with entrepreneurs who have their own businesses. I generally speak to women as well. It will apply to everybody, but I generally speak to women. So this is who this video is for. Now, what are New Earth energies? We have a lot of people talking about New Earth and 5D and ascension energies and different timelines. And one of the things that I've been paying attention to is how to put good words around that. So, New Earth energies have certain qualities to them. And the most effective way I found to explain this is New Earth energies, and I equate them to 5D energies, and you can call them ascension energies if you want to also. But New Earth energies are energies that are quantum, they're based in quantum reality. So here's the difference. Quantum reality is a reality where time is not linear, so things don't go from one thing to the next. We are not dealing with a single consciousness. We are dealing with multiple consciousnesses. We're dealing with multiple realities being possible. And those are the core pieces of what New Earth is about. Now, if we use an equivalent opposite, it would be Old Earth, right? So Old Earth, which we'll also here refer to as 3D reality. 3D is linear, things one thing to the next thing. It's also about one consciousness, and it's also about one right way. Like there is one truth. So these are the juxtapositions that we have when we think about what is New Earth and what is 5D. And so when we can be clear about what we're talking about, it helps us understand how to work with it rather than have it be something that we conceptually understand or feel the truth of. So another core element that I find is common for us to refer to with regard to New Earth is that it is what we might refer to often as a very spiritual, more universe, more spirit-based, soul-based. And really, when we use anything referring soul to soul or spirit or universe, we are really talking about what is in essence quantum reality and quantum energy. It's nonlinear, not a single consciousness, not a single mind. So those things continue to hold true. But we have found an experience of quantum reality through our spiritual awarenesses, through our spiritual growth. Does it make sense? Okay, so just to clarify something that can get a little confusing, and it's going to be relevant, especially if you're learning to work with New Earth energies. We often say 3D to mean two things. We're meaning physical world, like the actual 3D physical world, as opposed to ethereal, like non-physical reality, non-physical worlds, right? So there's 3D, but then there is 3D that means what we're actually trying to mean is a linear classical Newtonian physics type of reality where there's right and there's wrong. There's one answer, there's one consciousness, there are limitations, which means that if I give you one piece of this, there is one piece less of the pie. That's often a thing that we refer to when we mean 3D. And so it helps to be aware, are we talking about physical or are we talking about the reality that is we associate with 3D? And this comes into play because as we begin to work with new earth energies, it has to do with how we feel and then how we think. Okay, so the next point, how do new earth 5D energies feel? For a lot of people, they're feeling two ways: hugely expansive and also disturbing, like challenging, uncomfortable. So, hugely expansive means you are feeling these energies in a way that you feel enormous possibilities and potential. You can feel that things could be a little bit easier. You can feel that things could move in a different way. You might experience synchronicities. And yet, at the same time, in your body, you may be feeling confused, sometimes nervous system triggered, uh, not being able to hold clarity for very long, energy swings. Some of those things are very common feelings of new earth energies. And generally, what that means is it's not going to last forever. It's not going to feel turbulent that way. But as we receive higher vibration energies on the planet, your body is figuring out how to accommodate them. And since we are a multidimensional being, which is part of quantum reality, since we are a multidimensional being and we have multiple energy bodies, all of those bodies are working on how to line themselves up and work well on the earth. So it's kind of a growth stage. So we feel uncomfortable in these two things. So you will have had opportunities to feel these energies. You feel what New Earth and 5D feels like when you meditate, when you're in flow, when you, if you're highly intuitive, when you're channeling, or when you're talking to your spirit guides. These are all instances of when you have actually worked with New Earth energies. That's where we end up, in that space, which is very expansive. There are multiple consciousnesses, there are multiple realities. See what I mean? It's quantum. That's what quantum reality is. It's all of these qualities. So, why does this matter to you? Why would knowing about this matter? Well, because it's all about our alignment. Like there's certain pieces to this. It matters for a couple of reasons. One of them is because everything we've been doing as we've been growing is trying to find our way to alignment. So when you can find alignment, then we will feel more ease, right? You'll feel better in your body and you feel aligned, you feel in flow. So then you really kind of want to pay attention to whether or not you're dealing with a physical, classical reality or a quantum reality. These two things have a feeling tone to them. We can mentally understand them, which is what I've been describing to you, but they have a feeling tone. Okay, another reason it matters is that we ease and flow. Like that is kind of how most of us want to live our life. The reason we began looking for answers for ourselves and that created our expansion where we've been growing our consciousness is because there was something going on in our life where we didn't feel like we had the ease and flow we wanted. Like things weren't happening like we wanted. We weren't feeling happy. This thing wasn't giving me the feelings I wanted. I don't feel satisfied or fulfilled or free. Ease and flow. That's what quantum reality, quantum energies, new earth energies are here to support us with. Another reason is around creating. And that's why I title this How to Create in New Earth Energies, because how we're going to create in New Earth Energies is really different than creating in Old Earth, traditional, classical, physical reality. We're just not going to be creating that way anymore. And it will be frustrating when you try. So if you've been working on something and you've been trying to bring it into form and bring it into a successful expression, whether it's a business or a project or a purchase of a house or whatever it might be, when you try to do it from a linear standpoint, from old earth, it feels frustrating and it feels hard and it's not working and it takes a long time. And when you're working in new earth energy, you're in flow, you feel aligned, it seems to move with ease. And we haven't yet learned how to make those distinctions. And that's why I'm sharing, because I really want to help us learn how to do this with greater ease. Okay. And the other reason that it matters is I think time's up. Like literally, the point is time's up. We have been on a journey for a good while, but I would say across my lifetime, at least the last 40 years, just definitively, we've had a increasing awareness of intuitive skills and increasing openness of intuitive skills, intuitive abilities, gifts over this time period. So if you could feel, which was, what, 30 years ago, I was meeting with a group of women, and at that time we were talking about their different skills and abilities, and every single one of them had some other job where no one knew about it. So I was dealing with a woman that was a financial broker. She did trading in finance, and her particular thing that she'd had her whole life was ability to hold something and feel the history of that particular piece. She could feel all of the people that had owned a particular item. I was like, oh my gosh, like that could be helpful in so many ways, but it wasn't okay to be who she was in the world. Now that's changed so much. It is okay to be that. There are more people who understand. There is less judgment around that, right? So we've been bringing that acceptance in, and we've been bringing in more people. Plus, they've been born like this and growing up like this. So they already are, when you talk about star seeds, they already get all this and they don't hold this kind of judgment, right? So today, now, and we've got a window here where time's up. This kind of reality where you want to try to make things in a 3D classical Newtonian energy, it's not going to work anymore. We're all going to be moving into more of a quantum reality to create with, especially if you want to stay in ease, flow, joy, right? That's what it's over time. Okay. So how do you create with new earth energies? This is the kind of the crux of my work, and this is what's developing for me. I began to feel new earth energies mm, last year, early last summer. So that would have been 2021. And I was calling them emergence energies because they had a certain tone to them, like extremely expansive, like full of potential. I could see where there were so many people on the planet with this energy who are here to create something brand new, create new systems, create new visions, create new possibilities. It's just really spectacular. And so I called them emergence energies, and now I've kind of moved to they are a tone of energy within New Earth. Like we're going to call it New Earth energies for now, but they're so expansive. And when you work with New Earth energies, you're staying in New Earth reality. So if you want to imagine, we have multiple realities. We have a New Earth reality and we have an Old Earth reality. They exist simultaneously. You can walk outside your neighborhood and meet people who are practicing learning to be living in new earth reality. And then we have people who are very happy and want to stay in old earth reality. And that's okay. But we have two of them. And when those two of them kind of play back and forth inside of you, it makes it really hard to create. So one of the things we're learning to do is how do I stay in new earth reality? Okay, that's one thing, is how can I stay in a new earth reality? And that is a feeling experience. That is learning to feel your way and make choices from that feeling place, that same way that you know intuitively that's right or wrong, or that person's misleading or me or not misleading me. That's coming from an energy place. That's what you first want to do. You really want to listen to the energy. Now, next, you want to notice how you pull yourself out of new earth. And the number one way we pull ourselves out of new earth is we slip into habits of thought and emotions that are based in old earth. they're based in a linear form of thinking that we were trained in. I mean, all of our systems exist in that kind of linear, limited, scarcity mindset. Like it's just what we normally default to, and we often don't recognize we do it. So, part of learning to work with new earth energies is to notice when you're slipping into an old earth belief, an old earth habit, an old earth emotion, because it's going to take you out of the new earth reality that you've been in and put you back into old earth where there are limitations. Does that make sense? It is a very energetic shift that happens, which also shifts your ability to create. And then there's the last piece of this that I would share about how to create new earth energy. It's about practicing the difference between soul and human. So, learning to create a new earth energy is about practicing, and it's learning to practice how to be both things. And we think, oh, well, we've been hearing about this for so long because this is what we're learning to be, a spirit in a living a human experience. And we have. And in New Earth, there are ways that you can understand this a little better. So I've been having a conversation with a client exactly about this point. She's clearly received these energies. She's got a beautiful vision about how to transform um, the systems around money, finance, women, and financing, helping them finance their business. It's a cohesive sort of how can we be regenerative in this energy? And she has very clear idea. Like she knows I need to start here. She's starting here. And then the next question we're dealing with is she took the first step. And like every one of us, it's like, okay, what do I do next? Like, what's the next thing? Like, how do I anchor this in? And I'm like, okay, well, now that you have taken an action on a soul driven aspiration, then how do you integrate the human component of it, right? And so we would generally fall into making a business plan, and that's linear. And we would think about doing, which is again, linear old earth. So, what do you do in this instance? How do you marry these two things? Because your soul is actually working with your human self. And so, then the question I would pose her and did pose to her is, what does your human want to do now? How does your human want to enjoy this journey you're going to be on? What does it want in relationship to this bigger picture dream that you're advancing? And we have to learn to marry the two because they're going to work together and they're going to come from a feeling place. So I hope this has given you some really good understanding of the difference between new earth and old earth and how to create in new earth energies. And what I want to do at this point is invite you, if you want to learn together, because this is a learning experience like riding a bike. I can explain it to you, but it has to happen through practice right now, right? As we become more conscious and have greater awareness about how to teach this, it's going to be a learning experience. It will always be a learning experience because it's a feeling experience of our existence, right? So I want to invite you to take a look at Activate Emergence, which is a very intimate program for the women that I've mentioned I'm speaking to. It's a very intimate program of 8 women where we get together over 6 weeks. We activate these energies, harmonize them, and we practice on the specific thing you're trying to grow. So it's a 6-week program. We meet as a group weekly, and you have access to me on Voxer on the daily. So it's intended to be a really intimate, immersive experience, but I'm testing this out because I'm trying to see how we can condense the work that I normally do into something tighter, but not leave you without, if you will. So take a look at Activate Emergence. I've made it very accessible because I think these energies are going to be really pronounced over the next 6 to 8 months. And then something else is going to shift into place for me. So please apply. It's an application process and you'll schedule a call. We'll talk to see if this is in alignment for you and me. And the new first cohort begins on September 27th, but I'm going to continue to run cohorts. So if this timing is not in alignment for you, please apply and I'll be taking people as the groups form. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. And please share if this makes sense with the people that you know who need to hear it. Thank you. Bye.